Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I was in the middle of actually working on another video with a bunch of updates from this case, Lori Vallow case, or Daybell case, and I just saw this new thing that just came out about this case. I actually requested the discovery today, so hopefully I'll have my own court documents next week, I'm hoping, with all this information. There's some interviews and stuff, so I didn't even know this came out because I was working on my video with all the other updates, and you guys gotta listen to this, okay? So this is an interview with Ian Pawlowski, basically a police interview. Remember, Ian Pawlowski is Melanie's husband, and Melanie is Lori's niece. So I'm going to read this to you. I wanted to get this out before I finish the other one, because the other one's just all the updates since my last update video, just random things I find on the case and random little facts and things that I just find interesting. But like I said, then this came out, so I just want to get this out to you guys first. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so this is Ian Pawlowski. He's talking to the police. It's the police interview, and he says, "When Melanie began sharing all of these things with me, I tried to keep an open mind. I'd only met her 4 days previous, but felt very comfortable around her. I believe there is more to the gospel than what I have seen so far, but I never thought it would sound like this. The ideas seemed harmless at first, and she sounded pretty certain of some of them. She talked about how she's learned some of these things in the temple and others from Chad and Lori. Upon first meeting Chad and Lori, I didn't get a bad impression of them, but they did seem different. I didn't think anything of that, as I feel like that's a fairly normal feeling to experience. I didn't give them much thought, as they said they were planning on taking off and that I'd be taking the reins concerning care of Melanie. They said they'd be going to Hawaii and invited me to come visit sometime. Later, Melanie explained porting and that they could travel there by method. The first time hearing all of these new beliefs was a jolt. I was looking for someone spiritual, but this was a leap beyond that into concerning territory. I had fears and doubts, but I trusted Melanie and wanted to give her a fair chance, so I continued to listen and ask questions in hopes it would click for me. It never did. There were fun and exciting ideas, but it felt like many of them were ripped straight out of Dungeons and Dragons manual. Between the stats, accounts of dark and light weapons, and words spoken in blessings, it sounded like someone had created a tabletop RPG based on the Bible. While living something like that appealed to me, I couldn't find anything to confirm it as I prayed and asked. I figured anyone called to something like this would struggle, but how else would they be made aware of things like this? I continued to try to keep an open mind and proceed with caution. Melanie began to share that she feared for the lives of 2 of her children based on a dream she'd had where they came to her that brought her tidings of great joy. Her daughter thanked her for allowing her the freedom to use her agency until the end. This concerned me and made my heart ache for her. I felt there was no way anything could have happened without people finding out. We married faster than any sane couple would, but we both felt it was right. On our wedding night, she began to elaborate on the ideas she'd shared earlier about her children coming to her. She explained zombies and her fears about what Chad and Lori stated concerning the original spirits being caught in limbo until the body's death. She stated that Brandon had been possessed by a demon or another dark entity sometime after June of this year. She was told either through revelation or by Chador, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Chador, that something would happen to him, that something needed to happen to him in order for his spirit to progress and for the Lord's plan to continue. She didn't take well to the idea of her husband dying as a part of the Lord's plan, but didn't think action would be taken by anyone. She still loves Brandon and would never wish any ill on him. It just sounded to her like it would be something that happened on his own when it was his time. This is where things started becoming concerning to me. She shared the idea that Chad and Lori could have directed Al to take a shot at Brandon, and I'm sure Al stands for Alex. It wasn't anything she was sure about. The concern began when she was called into the Gilbert PD and asked about Chad, Lori, and Alex after the attempt on Brandon's life. She later was given the impression that the bullet needed to move 5 inches so as not to hit Brandon. Initially, to me, it sounded like it was told to her by Chad. The discussion moved to Chad and Lori's missing children. At the time, only JJ was counted as missing, and the Rexburg PD had conducted raids on Melanie's apartment along with Al's. Melanie had been told by Chad and Lori that their children had been possessed and had become zombies. Oh my God, this doesn't sound good. Wow. She shared concerns that she's been told Brandon needed to die, and that may indicate that that Tylee and JJ needed to die as well. She told me she was worried that Al may have had to take care of the kids. She explained that Al had great faith and never wavered in his trust in the Lord. No task would be too difficult or great for him. When I asked for clarification, she restated her concern verbatim. At that point, I became severely worried, but told myself there's no way I just married into a situation so sinister. I spent the next 2 days trying to justify my actions and reassure myself that everything was fine, but I couldn't get to that point. My ex-wife Natalie had been asking for Melanie's name so she can check her out on social media and get an idea of who she is. Melanie had been adamant that I not share her full name with anyone for fear that Brandon may locate and harass her. I couldn't justify that and eventually gave Natalie Melanie's full name. On Tuesday, December 2nd, I got a call from my mother. She had just gotten off the phone with Natalie. When we divorced, Natalie made a point to cut herself off from my entire family and hadn't spoke to any of them for at least 8 months. She had made as little contact with me as possible, but hadn't been unkind since the initial conflict of the divorce. My mother told me she just received a video call from Natalie. Natalie was terrified. She'd managed to reach Brandon through his business and heard his side of things. She'd been told Melanie was in a cult and that she tried to have him killed. While I didn't and still don't believe she had anything to do with his attempted murder, I was still terrified at the possibility. The next morning, on the way to work, Natalie called and we were discussing how to handle this in order to keep our kids safe. She told me she'd be going in to meet with the police. I told her I'd go along and lay out everything I understand. I saw 2 possibilities. The first was that Melanie isn't who I thought she was, and I keep myself and my family out of a dangerous situation. The second was that Melanie has been taken advantage of, and I'm going to get her out of a messy situation and healed. When meeting with the police, I intended to share things as I understood. Detectives Hope and Hermosillo were present along with an FBI agent named Ricky. I've since shared all of my concerns with Melanie and have gotten clarification on some of them. What I shared with the police were the ideas that Chad, Lori, and Alex may have planned shooting at Brandon, and that Tylee and JJ may be in serious danger if Melanie's fears have any validity. If shooting at Brandon was indeed based on the idea that he was not longer actually Brandon and needed to die as part of the Lord's plan, then the kids' lives could be forfeit based on the idea that they're not really Tylee and JJ anymore. I shared that Melanie had concerns about them participating in the shooting and was against anyone trying to hurt him. She couldn't see them doing these things, but she also knew they would follow the Lord's will as they saw it. I shared ideas about earthquakes being prepared in SLC and that it was believed that there would be a time when the quakes hit that many possessions would occur there due to the high number of injured there would be. That sentence doesn't make sense. I tried to read it like 3 times already and something is off with that sentence. But anyway, so it says such a thing would be a huge threat to God's plan and would need to be dealt with directly. Al, which is Alex, remember, Al and Zulema had stayed in Las Vegas and were preparing earthquakes at the time I spoke with the police. I share concerns for the safety of my kids and Natalie. I offered to help in any way I can. I then allowed them to pull data from my phone. I met with them again the following afternoon and restated what I knew for a few other detectives, Lieutenant Ball and another FBI agent named Travis. They shared some mild concern about me potentially spying for Chad and Lori. I explained that I was there because I was concerned primarily for the safety of my kids and that I wanted to get Melanie out of this if possible. They gave me a recording device that looked like a thumb drive on a keychain. My plan was to record anything I thought could help locate Tylee and JJ, locate Chad and Lori, and understand what happened when Brandon was shot at. If I thought Chad and Lori were going to be calling, I'd turn on the recorder and just let it run until they'd hung up. I don't feel that anything substantial was recorded, as Chad and Lori never talked about the kids or their location. Most of the conversations consisted of everyone commiserating about the current circumstances, discussing religious ideas, and just catching up. In addition to the recordings, I would talk with Ricky and he let me know about the things that may come up in conversation. He was never specific, but would give me enough information for me to know when it came up. These tips turned into Tammy's body being exhumed and Al's passing. On 12/19, Detective Hermosillo contacted me and told me that they had another warrant for Al's apartment next door. He asked if I'd give them the code to the garage so they wouldn't have to break the door in. I shared the code. I didn't see any reason not to. They went in with a forensic team and looked for any evidence of JJ having been there. Melanie saw them there and spent the afternoon at my apartment. That night I went to the apartment and looked around to see what they had been doing or if they had taken anything. I also wanted to see the warrants to understand what they've been looking for. After looking around, I went to see Melanie at my apartment. I finally broke down and told her that I'd spoken with the police and that I don't believe any of this. I don't know how she would react, but I couldn't hang on to the stress anymore. Of course she was hurt, feeling betrayed, but she reassured me that she loves me and that she understands why I did it. At that time, I didn't share that I'd been recording anything. I wasn't sure if we'd hear from Chad and Lori again. Over the following week, we had discussions on our situations, and I came to understand things a little better. She was legitimately afraid of the ideas I'd shared with the police and FBI, but they weren't anything she had any proof of. As I've spoken with her and dug into the details, I've come to believe that she truly doesn't know anything about who shot at Brandon or where the kids have gone. She only has the what-if scenarios that she shared. I'm worried that I jumped the gun and have sent the authorities on yet another wild goose chase, along with prompting them to light up the national media with pieces of what I shared. My intent was to protect my family and help solve the case of the kids' disappearance, not smear anyone in the public eye. I certainly didn't want to give Brandon any ammo to hurt Melanie any more than he already has. I still have my doubts. Primarily, why not turn to the police first instead of disappearing if you claim your life is in danger? Why leave your innocent niece here to clean up the mess and encourage her not to cooperate with the authorities? Why encourage her not to fight for her kids? Her ex-husband now has temporary sole custody as a result. Why not simply provide proof that the kids are okay and put an end to this insanity? Isn't it odd that the 2 detectives assigned to your case happen to be 2 of the Kane's Dark 50? What is that? Kane's Dark 50? I don't know. Let me know if you guys know what that means. 2 of the Kane's Dark 50. I'm not sure what that means. Everyone trying to do their job and save these kids are either evil or deceived. Your kids are missing, and it doesn't come up once during a handful of lengthy conversations. There are so many more that I have. I don't ever want to have anything to do with those 2 after this. Melanie has been put through the ringer because of their paranoia, and now is in the hot seat because I went to the police and tried to help. I know she's done nothing wrong, and I want her free from this. I will no longer openly cooperate with the police or the FBI, but I will through a lawyer. My final straw was when I received a call on Friday from Ricky where he threatened charges of lying to a federal office and or being an accessory in the disappearance of Tylee and JJ because Melanie couldn't clearly answer questions about the religious aspects of the investigation. After I shared my doubts with her, her world shattered. She couldn't answer those questions because she doesn't know what she believes about those things anymore. There was so much information dumped on her by Chad and Lori that she can't remember what she learned from them, from the podcast she's listened to, or on her own. A 20-year veteran FBI agent throwing a hissy fit after one shaky interview tells me all I need to know about how they want to handle this. She didn't trust authorities before because of how poorly the AF treated her when she went to pick up her kids with a court order in hand. Okay, so wow. Let me know what you guys think of that. Do you think he's telling the truth? Do you think he's trying to save face? Do you think Melanie's telling the truth or trying to save face because now she knows she's screwed? I mean, she's involved in some crazy stuff, so she either has to distance herself from it and deny it all, or she could go down and go to jail for the rest of her life too. If she really is involved in this stuff more than she's letting on, but she's trying to save her life and save her freedom, or is this true? Or is she just young or naive and just believed her aunt? And same with Ian. Do you think Ian's being sincere or he's just trying to save his wife? Now, I kind of believe Ian's being sincere. I really do for some reason. I believe that he is, and he believes Melanie. I don't know if I believe Melanie yet, though. She might just be trying to save herself and lie about her part in all this. But let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I'm working on a update video with a bunch of stuff, just random stuff that I found that should be done in the next couple of days, but it might be old news by now because I just got busy the last week with all this craziness going on, but I had to get this one out first for you guys. So, and just one more thing I found. It looks like this is a text from Ian to his ex-wife, Natalie, and it makes me wonder, is this when Alex was still alive? Because doesn't Lori only have one brother, right? So he says uncles, so wouldn't that mean 2 brothers? So that had to be when Alex was still alive, or did Lori have 3 brothers? Do you guys know? I thought she only has 2 brothers, and then Alex and the other one. And if that's true, then this message was sent when Alex was still alive. But it says, I don't know if I could convince her to go to the family court hearing on Wednesday. I'm trying, but she got an answer last night from God himself. Her uncles have her so wrapped up. They're telling her she needs to move to Eamon? That's not going to happen because I'm not going to leave Rexburg. They think it has something to do with jurisdiction. Dumbest thing ever. Don't respond. Just wanted to update you earlier because I had a quick second to call. Stay safe. See, now after reading this, it kind of makes me wonder, do we believe Ian then or what? I mean, what's he talking about? Sounds like he's thinking Melanie is, you know, kind of, well, I guess if he thinks she's full of it, yeah, that would be right. But I don't know if I mean, what do you guys think? Do we trust this Ian guy? And then they got married with Alex and Zulema. Here, I have their marriage certificates. I'll show you real quick. So you see they got married a day after Alex and Zulema, and Alex was actually their witness. It says in the presence of Alex Pastini. Alex Pastines? Wait, he took her last name? Okay, now I'm confused. Is that the same Alex then? What the heck? That don't even make sense. I just noticed that. Oh, he wished... Wow, yeah, read that on his. It says Alexander Lamar Cox wishes to use the name Alexander Lamar Pastines after marriage. Wow, so he took her name. He took Zulema's last name. I've never seen a guy take the girl's last name. That's crazy. So yeah, he is the witness for Ian and Melanie's marriage. They get married a day after Alex and Zulema, and Alex takes his wife's last name. It just makes me wonder, is that because, I don't know, there's got to be a reason they talked him into doing that. I just feel like there's some kind of purpose that they had him take her last name. Do you guys have any ideas? If you do, let me know in the comments. One more thing I found. I keep finding more stuff. Let me just read you this. This is about Melanie. Father is Brandon Boudreaux and mother is Melanie. So it says, father denies the allegations as stated in paragraph 10 of the motion. Father did not mistake any facts in his motion or petition. Father remains unable to reveal all evidence to this court of the ongoing investigation into the attempted murder on his life. Mother remains an affiliated party regarding same, and father anticipates that the detective assigned to said case will testify in the affirmative. As this court well knows, a victim knows much more than law enforcement can disclose to the media or to others. Father will not disclose all of his evidence at this time, as doing so would greatly impede the ongoing investigation. Father was provided significant evidence to this court to support his concerns for the safety of the children and continues to believe that mother played an integral part into the attempt of his life. Mother packed up in the middle of the night, leaving all of the children's belongings on the sidewalk outside of her home, and moved to Idaho to live right next door to her Aunt Lori Vallow, Daybell. If mother had any intentions of ever having her children with her again, one would think she would have taken their belongings along with her. Some of the belongings included items that were brand new and very expensive. In addition, mother had over $200,000 at her disposal, and if she was not involved in the attempt of father's life and felt that father was wrongfully withholding the children or violating court orders, she had sufficient monies to retain counsel at that time. Rather, she chose to flee Arizona's jurisdiction under the cover of night. Father ultimately found out from law enforcement as to the address in Rexburg, Idaho, as to where mother had moved. Father also found out through law enforcement that mother had remarried merely weeks after leaving Arizona and that she was now pregnant to her new husband. Mother did not self-report any of this information to father. So wow. Now that makes me wonder if maybe Melanie and Ian are both lying just to save their butt because they got a baby on the way. And if not, I mean, they're involved in attempted murders and murders. I mean, they could be an accomplice if they know what's going on with the kids. I don't know. But I guess as far as right now, I have no reason not to believe Ian. But Melanie, I do. I just don't trust her. Ian, I'm not sure yet. But I guess we'll see. So let me know what you guys think of that. If she's pregnant, that's crazy. Wow. She don't even take... Well, but the way Brandon makes it seem like she didn't seem like she was a very good mother, but then there's always two sides to every story, so you never know. But okay, so now I'm really gonna end it here. Sorry, I kept finding new stuff. I'm like, wait, I gotta add this one in here. So I just thought that was interesting that Melanie was pregnant. So okay, guys, so I'm gonna end this here though. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys are all doing well wherever you are, and you guys all have a good night. Bye.